Kalimera, Kalispera, whatever time you are watching, this is Mappa. I'm Stel, Thassos is here, and we have a very special guest, a gentleman that is quite busy on social media. I thought I was busy on social media, but this guy is on a different level. He goes to games in Cyprus, he follows Dutch players in Cyprus, he's got a very, very reputable Instagram account. Erik, welcome to the show, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, all good. Thanks for having me. So, yeah. And hopefully it's going to be a great show.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we spoke off camera about your journey to Cyprus, but you're following Dutch players. How long have you been following Dutch players in Cyprus?
I would say roughly about 10 years since I moved down here, you know, because obviously I'm from the Netherlands, and then you follow, well, particularly the Dutch players in the area where you live. And yeah, and then since, I don't know, exactly 2 years, I think, I started the social media account, Dutch players in Cyprus. And then, yeah, we'll post anything from what happens actually on the pitch, and going to the games, and yeah, all that sort of stuff.
That's right.
And watching the Cyprus football in general.
Yep. We spotted you at the OMONOIA ARIS game, didn't we? With your Dutch flag.
Yeah. Yeah, I made some customized flags for some Dutch guys, but they haven't arrived yet. So once they will, you'll be able to spot these in the ground.
Brilliant. And have you developed relationships with any of the Dutch players that have been in Cyprus?
Yeah, I speak to most of them, you know, and like I say, if I need to have access or get a ticket, then they will always be happy to give me one. Or if I need one, then you always can sort it out. So that's nice from them.
Excellent, excellent. And you're also working on another project, I believe, called LuxuryCyprus.cy. Do you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, Luxury Cyprus is a website we recently started. It's mainly to give it in the big picture. It's all about the luxury places that Cyprus has to offer. So this is a variety of the most luxurious hotels and all that kind of things, from luxury cars, yacht rentals. You can name it, and we will list it. We're gonna have we made the deal I think 3 days ago, with a property company. So we will list also like luxury properties, and we shoot it. I think 1.5 weeks ago we shoot the first video in Cap St. George hotel, and we showed some luxury things, like they've got a presidential suite which is 9K a day, which is probably the most luxurious room in Cyprus. So this kind of stuff we will do. We'll make like videos and then this kind of things, and maybe other interviews, you know, that can be fitted into the concept of Luxury Cyprus. So when Lorenzo Abicilio, for example, he came back last year to the second division, the former APOEL player from the Netherlands. And then he contacted us, or me actually, to find him like a villa, which we arranged in Protaras for him. So, I mean, they already know me, and that I have the connections for like properties and holiday and these kind of stuff. If family comes over, for example, that they know the right connections, or so yeah, basically that.
Lovely. Well, we're going to put the link in the description, everything related to your websites and what you do, including your Instagram, both your accounts. Everything's going to be in the description for our viewers. So, gentlemen, let's start with the weekend's games. We've got a roundup, which we do normally. And let's begin with our friends at ARIS, who got a 2-0 victory over ETHNIKOS. Jadon Montnor gave them the lead, the Dutchman, and Strutsky made it 2. Thassos, pretty routine for the champions, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it ended up, isn't it? Montnor's impressed me a lot since he came in the summer. Yeah, Montnor it's a really good long through ball out to Montnor for that first goal, and he proper hits it, smacks it into the back of the net. The Ethnikos Akhnas goalkeeper Banai not got much chance with it. The second goal again is a great finish from Joke. And you can see again from the goalkeeper, he's a bit disappointed to not get to it, but it's again hit with a lot of power. It's executed well. But the game was won basically in the first half an hour for Ari. So Shpilevsky rang the changes at halftime in the 60 minutes, obviously, to get the team prepared better for when they play Betis on Thursday. Yeah, it was Gomis and Bengtsson came off at halftime, and then Montnor and Struski came off in the 64th minute. And then obviously in the second half, the intensity from ARIS's players reduced. They calmed down a little bit. They kind of knew the game was won after that. But then it meant that Akhna got into the game a little bit more. But the kind of what was weird afterwards was the press conference from the coach at Akhna, basically claiming that they could have won the game if they'd scored their chances in the second half. Now I had a look at the stats. Vanna Alves had 2 saves to make. And on top of the 2 goals that Banai conceded, he also saved 4 shots. So, let's not shit the bed. Akhna could not have won that game.
Erik, what have you made of Montnor since joining Ari? Obviously, we weren't privy to the player. We didn't know much about him. Did you expect him to come to Cyprus and do well, or as well as he's done?
No, I didn't really expect him to come to Cyprus, obviously, because he's a younger player. And what you obviously see in Cyprus football is that they get the older players, and also they paid, I think, nearly 400k for him. So, but I think it's something that it's good for Cypriot football, and also, like I say, Montnor is of course a player that has specific qualities that ARIS can use really with his speed and technique, and I think it's good, like how ARIS is approaching it. For Cypriot football, that they try to buy in young players. The only negative part is that they don't really use Cypriot players, of course. But yeah, that's the other side of the story, of course. But it's good they at least they get younger players in and accept to get like the older ones from Greece or wherever they come from, that they are on their last year or 2. So I think it's a positive change, and like I say, he's doing well, as Thassos said, with in the start of the season so far.
And what do you make of Spilevsky? Because we know that he came to Cyprus having worked with RB Leipzig and Stuttgart. He got a pretty decent reputation as a youth coach, and you being Dutch, all about producing young players. What do you think, or should I say, how far do you think this coach can go?
I think from what I've seen at ARIS, because I haven't seen him previously when he was in Germany, but the way he tries to play with ARIS, it is like typical the way they like to the approach in the Netherlands, or like Belgium, that they bit of attacking football. So I could see him end up in the Netherlands, but of course, but I think what is more likely maybe that he returns back. Let's say that he gets an offer from a team in Germany, because obviously he speaks fluent German as well, which is could be a relatively plus for him. Well, he speaks more languages obviously, but it's I see him go back to maybe top and second Bundesliga, and if he does really well in Europe, maybe there is even a Bundesliga club who would like to pick him up, because he's a young, talented coach, I think.
Well, they've got a big game against Betis on Thursday, so we wish them all the best. So fingers crossed, they'll get another 3 points on the board and keep us happy. Speaking of 3 points on the board, APOEL beat Salamina by a 1-0. the missing Sapinto hasn't been missed by your club, has he, Thassos?
He's not, has he? I mean, we seem to be scraping the 1-0 wins despite dominating the teams. Because we were in control of this game throughout. It just, for some reason, it's been a problem for APOEL for a while now, is take as many shots as you can, because only one of them is going to end up going in. It's weird. But, you know, Sarfo hit the post. Dongala had loads of chances. Kvili Dyer came on and did his Kvili Dyer things, you know. I mean, the team is performing well. Even Fetfatsidis, you know, we've been going on. Erik has been talking about old has-been players who've got like 1 or 2 years left joining teams in Cyprus. Fetfatsidis was the one that I've been saying he's a major one for them, and yeah, even he didn't do too bad off the bench for that game. So, you know, I'm impressed with how things are going so far.
Happy days for you. Happy days for you.
Yeah.
And happy days also for Luis Oltra, whose Ike beat Karmiotissa by 5-0. Erik, I know Karmiotissa have got a Dutch player. What did you make of Karmiotissa's performance, if you want to call it that?
I think from the start of the season, let's say, or on the time that Punin sold the club, that it went really downwards with the club. I can't put my finger on it why, because they got a few players that have the ability to play this top level, but it doesn't come out, of course. But I think it's more the things around the club that affects everything on the pitch, in my opinion. I don't know what's your view on Karmiotissa in general, but
well, I'll tell you what, you've got a Dutch player at Ike who was at Feyenoord, and he seems to be doing the business at the moment.
Yeah, he's had a brilliant start, of course, with his he's technically, as long as he's coming close to the pitch with passing and obviously free kicks and shots on goals, he's been already important, scoring 3 goals and I think 1 or 2 assists even. So yeah, that's I think maybe a key part for Ike, because that's what they were missing in the first few games of the season. Which hopefully for them they can climb up the ladder a little bit, because they had a bit of a rough start, I would say, but.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, we were talking about Oltra signing a new contract a few weeks ago, and their results haven't been good since. They got a decent draw, to be fair, against Buffalo before the international break. And to be fair, Karmiotissa is the kind of club that you want to face when you come back from the internationals, unless you're OMONOIA, obviously. You want that kind of team to boost your confidence. And, you know, Thassos, Fransol, hat-trick. Now, he's been going through a bit of a drought at the moment, but I'm pretty certain that this is the start of things to come, I think, anyway.
Maybe, but you know, a lot of players hit rough patches, end up scoring 2 or 3 goals, and then end up with a rough patch again. You know, I don't want to name names, but Bruno, but
we don't talk about Bruno, my guy.
But you know, is when he's in form, you can see, you know, nobody can touch him. He's a very good player when he's on his day. It's just that he needs to be on his day a bit more for Ajax to succeed further in the championship, because when he's gone quiet, Ajax have suffered. You know, you can only get so many bangers from Mark Diemers from 30-40 meters. You know, you need somebody a bit closer to the goal to score them sometimes as well, don't you?
The thing is, if you look at Franco's goal scoring record, he scored 4 against ETHNIKOS in the second game of the season. Then he scored 2 against OTHELLOS game week 4. He didn't score until game week 8, a hat trick. So it's not as if he's spreading his 8 goals across the season. He's getting hat trick here, 2 goals here, 4 goals here.
Yeah, but
So-
just name the 3 teams again he scored against.
Okay. KARMIOTISSA, OTHELLOS. Are you trying to say he's a flat track bully? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm just saying. You said somebody's a stat padder. I'm just saying.
Oh, Bruno. Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm just saying. This,
Yeah.
but you know.
But the thing is, to be fair, right, his goal scoring record is pretty decent across various leagues. He got
it is.
47 in 80 odd games for Willem II, which I think might be might be in their B team. It was there. He scored 27 in 70 odd for Villarreal B, 10 in 40 for Tenerife.
No. He played in the. No, he played in the Premier League from the Netherlands because I watched that a lot.
He played. Okay.
He had a
okay.
really
I thought he was
decent
playing for like
record there.
okay.
He was close to. Yeah. No. He did really well there. He was even linked with big clubs at the time to move to Germany or Feyenoord, but it didn't happen eventually. But I think he scored 14 or 15 in that season in the Premier League in the Netherlands.
Okay.
And obviously
right,
he's still like quite good for his age. Yeah. It was also surprising that he moved to AEK, but yeah.
Well, he was wasn't it at Dynamo Kiev before? Was it at Dynamo Kiev?
Yeah, he went to Ukraine. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I'm looking at the AEK squad at the moment, and when you see the plethora of talent they have in attacking areas, you know, Trzaskowski is still doing okay, even at 36 years old. Rafa Lopez, you got Farage on the right hand side, Dongia, the left winger that's on loan from, I think it's Ob in Denmark, if I'm not mistaken. They've got some very, very good players in attacking positions, but defensively, I think there's got to be some concerns. I know they kept a clean sheet at the weekend and they kept a clean sheet against Buffer, but throughout this season, they've been leaking goals left, right, and centre. So I don't know. Do you think this is a team that can tighten things up and move up the table?
I've spoken about AEK's defensive frailties a lot. So what do you think, Erik?
No, I think in the January window, that's they're going to be the main focus for AEK to sign. I think a centre back at least, but need to see how the season goes on, of course. If that's because I think on the average, I don't know the average age exactly from the defenders from AEK, but I think they are mainly over 30 as well, which could be concern in terms of injuries and stuff. But I think that's if they can get the squad strengthened in the back, then obviously they can compete for the top European spots.
Yeah, they signed the what's his name, Gagliolo, the defender from Reggio. Didn't they? Sorry, Reggio Calabria, whatever you want to call them. I forget the name of the club. Has he even played?
He has.
Yeah,
Remember,
he
he was the one that got done twice. It was we spoke about it. It was a match.
Was it Ayers?
Played. Yeah, there you go.
Ayers? Yes,
he
that's
got
him.
done. He got done twice by Dingini.
Oh my goodness! So he's
Didn't
the 33-year-old. Okay.
Yeah. So I think against Karmiotiсса they ended up playing Roberge in defense instead.
Yep.
But,
He's 36.
He's 36. They've got the back two that they had last season. They're over
Milicevic and
30
Tomovic.
as well.
Yeah.
The only one you can really look at in central defence who's not over 30 is Kadelaris, and he's always injured. So,
Yeah.
they need something there. Now the good thing is obviously the clean sheets that they got for the last couple of games. It means Piric's confidence goes up a bit, which means we might see kind of the performances that Ajax were getting from him last season, especially towards at the beginning of the season. So that can only be a good thing.
For sure. All right.
Well,
let's move on to the next game.
now, before we move on to the next game,
boo.
I think we need to talk about Mr. Yannis Violaris and his statements.
Oh yes! How dare I forget? My goodness.
Yeah. So
God.
shall I read what he said after the match, and then you pick out what he said that's wrong. Okay.
I know where this is going. I'll let Erik decide.
Erik might not know where this is going, so I'll just read what he said. Perhaps
I think I read it, but
yeah. So perhaps it has been decided that
wait. For the benefit of our listeners, you need to explain who this guy is.
Oh, sorry. Yes. So Yannis Violaris, Johnny Violins, right? He's the director of football at KARMIOTISSA right now. He's the person who's in charge of sacking the 7 managers that they had last season, and the fact that he's on his 3rd manager this season. It's mostly he's the one who's involved in the decision making for all of this. Anyway, I'll read off the statement, and then you tell me once I've finished where the bit is that's wrong. So, perhaps it has been decided that KARMIOTISSA should not be in the 1st division. We will not accept this. The people running the team will try to change the climate inside and outside the dressing room and inside Cyprus. They should understand that KARMIOTISSA is not the kicker. For too many matches, KARMIOTISSA was treated in an insulting manner. It is not tolerable. We will act legally and knock on doors where we need to talk. And let me tell you something. When you can't avoid rape, enjoy it. I've passed through grassroots, the 3rd division, the 2nd division, the national army. I feel ashamed. People will speak where they should speak, respect all those who work in KARMIOTISSA to offer spectacle and be among the elite. I hope the messages go where they should. According to the email sent by the CFA, they told us not to shoot the referees. Send us a message and talk to us.
And none of that was lost in translation, by the way.
Yeah, that's all translated properly.
Yeah.
So
no, but I think what he says and what in his position, it shows what's going on at KARMIOTISSA at the moment. It's like you see that they struggle off the pitch, on the pitch. It's like whole It's what you make of it.
the language he uses is incredible. When you can't avoid rape, enjoy it. That's absolutely insane language. It's atrocious. So, but the reporting on it, basically the sports websites in Cyprus, Gerkida reported it as strong complaints. Supersport originally called it a very harsh statement, and sportive.com.cy didn't call it up at all. They just said this is what he said, and just put it out there like a plate of shit for people to look at. They didn't say anything about it.
We made more of a fuss about it than anyone else, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then 2 days later, a letter is sent by Josie Christodoulou, who's the Commissioner for Gender Equality, to the Cypriot Organization for Sports and the Cyprus FA, calling the comments acceptable, which they are. And then once obviously this letter came out, it was like there was a fire and everybody had to, go with their buckets to chuck some water on it to put it out. You had Supersport actually issued an opinion article going, he should apologize. Oh, and then obviously yesterday, Monday, he did, but in writing. He didn't call press conference or nothing. He apologized in writing. Regarding the
It
issue,
only took 48 hours for them to issue an apology.
but it's not just that. It's it's written. Like, he wouldn't dare show his face to apologize at the place where he did the the statement in the first place. But anyway, regarding the issue that has arisen after the statements I made at the end of the match on Saturday, 20th of October 2023, between the teams AEK Larnaca and KARMIOTISSA FC, I wish to express my sincere apologies for my unfortunate way of expressing myself, which justifiably caused the unfavorable comments of the sports fans, and not only. I also want to state that I had absolutely no intention of offending the dignity and status of any of our fellow human beings. I express once again my sincere apologies for any inconvenience caused. Thank you for understanding. Yannis Violaris, Director of Football Department, KARMIOTISSA FC. It's literally a lawyer wrote the apology because he references, like, specifically a date, a time, who the teams were that were playing, and being like, using very long words. So it's been written by his legal representative, and he's just put the X at the bottom to sign it.
Well, I don't think he's gone to the local Gafenio and seen a guy playing Tavli and just asked him to write a statement for him. Because that would be a different kind of statement altogether.
Yeah. It'll be more like, I'm sorry if this caused offense.
Do you know what? If we had any other guest on this show, they would be surprised. But Erik being in Cyprus for the last 11 years, this is just normal, isn't it?
No, but that's why I think, like you say before, Thassos, that nobody really was like wondering. Yeah, it's just passing by, and it's what it is,
Exactly.
Especially when you see this, especially when you see if you focus it more on KARMIOTISSA, what's going on this season. That's like, well, this fits into the things what's going on there, really.
Yeah. As normal as an empty can of Mr. Brown rolling down the street. That's as normal as it gets, really. Normal as it gets. Right, let's move on to a club that is in top form at the moment, and that is ANORTHOSIS beating DOXA 2-0 away from home. Oh, guess what? ANORTHOSIS didn't struggle to beat DOXA. Chico Banza gave ANORTHOSIS the lead with a goal which was given as offside at the beginning, but due to VAR, they turned it around. They said, no, not offside. It's a goal. You can celebrate as much as you want. Do all the dancing that you like. Great for the socials, obviously. And then Gassama made it 2 with a lovely scissor kick, and he celebrated just like Bafatimbi Gomis. A fantastic celebration, don't you think, Thassos?
Yeah, they're pulling out all the stops, aren't they? I mean, you can see with Chico Banza's celebration, you can see like Helder Ferreira and Ferrer came up behind him and started slapping him on the back of the head, and he went down as if he was injured. It's amazing. But yeah, the ANORTHOSIS, I think, have been very impressive this season with the way that they've gone around doing things professionally as well against teams like DOXA, finishing them off early and then kind of slowing the game down. But even when they're playing some of the bigger teams as well. So I personally think that ANORTHOSIS are going to be up there at the end of the season, even with the injuries that they've got.
Well, I think it's a strong possibility. And when you've got Anderson Correa coming off the bench, anything can happen.
Oh, yeah. Or left back extraordinaire. Oh, God.
Erik, what do you make of ANORTHOSIS this season? Because I think Gallejo has done a fantastic job in the short space of time that he's had. Plus, the players coming in, the players leaving. Musunda got a few minutes as well. Do you think they'll be challenging this season?
Yeah, I was also quite surprised because I was attending the last matches of the season at ANORTHOSIS with some of the directors from the club, And then they already mentioned the big project, what they will was looking at to change, like big changes, of course, and lowering the budget and getting the expensive players out. So then you already, it's difficult to build a team. But if you see what they've done now, and what they brought in, and really get the fans of ANORTHOSIS behind it again, because nearly all the games are close to selling out now, which gives the club, I think, a massive boost. And like you say, which if you see the players they brought in, they really bring it up. And of course, the coach seems to be doing it, enjoying himself with the game, with the way they play the game. And of course, for you especially, maybe interesting to see the guy who came over from who played in England, Musonda. What's his name?
Musonda, yeah.
But yeah, he hasn't been really on the pitch. I think 2 games he came on, but yeah, that they can attract these kind of players with even a lower budget. You know, it's quite good to see. It's and what I think they have is also a good mixture between some younger players and experienced players. I think that they really got that together. And as Thassos said, I think if they can continue like this, that they should challenge for the European spots.
Oh, for sure. And to be honest, I've been very impressed with Wagi, the right back, and Fran Garcia. They've both come in, obviously not knowing the Cypriot league. The right back coming with a big reputation as well. And it's almost as if they're like a duck to water. They've come into the league, no problem. They're just settled in, played their football, and obviously ANORTHOSIS are benefiting from it, Tasso.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not just that. I think their recruitment policy as well has been to find players who have played with each other before. So there's like, I think 2 or 3 players that they brought in this summer who played for Burgos before, for instance. But yeah, like Ad Beloda, the goalkeeper, Wagier, you had Castel, a lot of players coming from the Segunda. I think it's still called the Segunda in Spain. But yeah, a lot of players that already knew each other, and they come in with a team that was kind of the team that the manager before last season.
Which one? Which one? Cisco Munoz.
No, not
Vesco.
Vesco
Yeah.
Mihajlovic. With the players that he brought in, not just but the youth players as well. So you've got players like Ioannou, who's now captain of the team. You've got who's Julio, who's in and around the team. He's only 18, 19 years old. Whenever he's come on, he's been fantastic. There's 2 or 3 other players as well that have been really good for them. And it's
17 years of age, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And they kept this core set of players. You know, ARIS, for instance, is one of those players. But they've kept. It's only a small core, but it's a core that they could build from, and they've built from it very impressively, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I've been impressed with Barudi as well. Barudi seems to be coming on leaps and bounds. He's always improving. So, yeah, let's see how the season progresses for ANORTHOSIS. And the final game of our highlights, APOLLON absolutely battering AES 5-0. Valbuena with a cracking goal. Honestly, this guy, he just doesn't get older, does he? It doesn't look like he gets older anyway. I mean, he's like, I don't know, got that young blood. Marquez made it 2. Perez scored 2 as well, 1 from the spot, and an own goal, making it 5-0 for APOLLON, top of the league, 5 wins, 3 draws, still unbeaten. Erik, Milojevic has come in. He's steadied the ship. Are they serious title contenders, my friend?
Yeah, I think at the moment, I think they're even better than ARIS at the moment. Just on the fact that they are defensively more stable, because ARIS gives away sometimes, in my opinion, the 2 easy goals away. That's why ANORTHOSIS, APOLLON with the Dutch goalkeeper who came in, I think he's already had now 4 or 5 clean sheets, if I'm correct.
4 in a row,
Obviously, like I say, it has a whole defense. 4 in a row, I think he had here now with IS. I was at the game, I saw the game also, and there was never a threat that IS would even grab a point at home. But like you say, with Valbuena is 39 years of age, but he still has the qualities, and it doesn't seem he came to Cyprus to just go on holiday. If you see what he's been doing over the last few games, then he's been really
Benjamin Button, isn't it?
No, but they've been really good, and also also Makis, who they took from the Netherlands. He was in Nijmegen, where he was struggling to get goals, but he's been doing well here. But also, if you saw the full game against IZ, he should have scored, I think, 2 or 3 more one-on-ones. He struggled with the ball, or he missed. I think if he gets more into his game, he could be the top scorer of the league, obviously. But they've been doing well. I think they're happy.
I think Marquez is the guy that I tipped to be top goal scorer on last week's episode. I think he's top. And the thing is, all right, he didn't score a hat-trick against IS, which he probably should have done with the chances that he had. But when you look at his running off the ball, when you look at his first touch, the movement, he's a different level. He's a different level head of Cypriot football, I believe, anyway. So, good luck to him, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I had to look at a couple of the stats as well just to see how the game went, because obviously it's 5-0. But Apollon were only 1-0 up at half time. So Valbuena scored the fantastic free kick, absolute beautiful goal. Can't say more than that. It's just really nice to see. But yeah, I had a look at. Apollon had 60% possession. Saying that, IS had 10 shots at goal. Apollon had 9 shots on target, and IS only had 3. So that shows you kind of the domination that Apollon had over IS over the whole game. But yeah, Pedro Makis is. I said last week that. We'll see whether or not he's going to end up being top goal scorer, but he's winning me over slowly. I mean, I'm looking at I looked at the goal scorer stats as well. It's Franz Sol top with 9, and then Gagulis on 6, and then a load of players with 5, including Pedro Makis. And he didn't play the first 3-4 games of the season either, did he? So scary.
Yep. And let's not forget that Apollon have only conceded 3 goals this season. And I stand corrected on the goalkeeper. He's kept 5 clean sheets in a row.
Well, it's what Milojevic does, doesn't he? He makes the defense more solid where it comes. We saw it APOEL last year. The defensive work that APOEL had, especially in the first half of the season. He's repeating this with Apollon, but obviously with the more attacking intent that we didn't necessarily see at APOEL. So Apollon are a very scary proposition for the other teams in the top 6, I think.
You're going to see Milojevic coming out in a press conference. Clean sheets. That's what I do. Like Mark Henry.
To mention about the Dutch goalkeeper, what is also quite interesting to see in the games is that you can really see that, because he had his academy at Ajax Amsterdam, and it's not just a a line keeper. So what he does, he drives up the ball in various moments that he tries to get the attention of all the players and then he's got a great pass to put players one-to-one up front. Obviously, he had already one assist from these kind of moments, but I think that's also a really key part in how they build up the game sometimes. Apollon, if you look at the games, how they set it, where it starts really from when you look at the goalkeeper from some of the goals.
Was he at Ajax with Botman and De Ligt, or was that a different age group? I can't remember.
That's a different age group. I think they've got at least 5 years difference.
5 years. Okay.
He went up to the under 21, and then he moved away.
Okay. Well, he's doing well so far, so I don't think anyone can complain. Well, he won't anyway. All right. Well, let's move on to APOEL. Who'd have thought that they would make the main highlights? But it's the Tony Goskela era, and it's begun with a victory, 2-1 against OTHELLOS. Thasso,
Yeah.
Did you notice much of a difference with this APOEL to the APOEL that we've seen the past few weeks?
Well,
and don't say they won. That doesn't count.
No, you can definitely see a difference. Obviously, there's only going to be small incremental changes. We had an international break, so Goskela had a couple of weeks already with the team. So the kind of the biggest increment of what we saw between the two. So we saw a bit more attacking intent than what we would have done otherwise. The issue obviously is it's OTHELLOS, so you would expect a team like APOEL to kind of go at them with a bit more of on the front foot. So maybe we're not seeing quite what he wants from the team yet. Maybe we need to see, once they start playing, your Salaminas, your Ajax and whatnot, to see what he really wants this team to play like. Narrow win. I would think they would have wanted something a bit more solid. As well, APOEL's first goal and OTHELLOS' goal are basically like when you see the two matched up against each other, they're almost carbon copies, like same side of the pitch and everything. It's a very, 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 very interesting game to keep an eye on anyway, especially with Muriel being Muriel in goal. Kind of seeing his reaction every time there's a save or a shot goes through. He's a bit more vocal, I found, as well, than he was when the previous manager was there. What do you think?
Well, they didn't play 4-1-4-1.
No, they did not.
There you go. See, that's the first change. It was a 4-2-3-1. The fullbacks got forward a lot. And when you see someone like Jalma on the left-hand side, who is dangerous when he gets forward, and he almost scored, I believe, in the first half. And he's even put faith in Makis. Would you believe him? Makis gave them the lead. Yeah. So it seems, well, judging by the goal celebrations and everything else, it seems that they were pretty happy with the head coach and the way that they celebrated with him. But there were some nervy moments, as we saw with the equaliser from OTHELLOS. Horrible goal to concede, to be honest, but let's get it right. With those kind of balls in the box, it's horrible for a defender, horrible for a goalkeeper, but you'd expect them to clear their lines. It wasn't one of those proper whipped-in crosses with this pace that is unstoppable. Obviously, there needed to be a header on the ball, but the fact is, Mendoza came off the bench and he scored the winner, got booked in the 86th minute for taking off his shirt, but winning ugly, that's all that matters, isn't it? If you win the game, you get the 3 points. That's all that matters, no?
Well, yeah, I mean that's it, isn't it? That is it. It's you'd think is this fight back from IL a bit after the equaliser from Othello? Would you have seen that with the previous manager?
No chance.
Well, yeah,
No
exactly.
chance.
Yeah, heads would have gone down. The game probably would have won or draw.
Well, they probably would have lost.
You think they would have lost it as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well, if you look at the end, didn't they get an equaliser which was disallowed for, was it offside, I believe? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was an offside goal.
Didn't Othello got a goal in injury time? Here we go. I think we're about to see it, no? Here we go. Othello grab an equaliser, but it's ruled out for offside. Ah, see? I tricked you.
Ah, there we go. There we go.
So, yeah, they probably would have lost that under the previous head coach. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Listen, Erik, look, I don't know about you, but it just seems that in Cyprus, while there are clubs that are very trigger happy and they sack coaches for bad results, do you think that perhaps the IL players didn't do their previous head coach any favors with some of their performances? Or do you just think that maybe it was time for him to go?
Yeah, like you say, it's always difficult to say about players what if they don't want to give everything. But I saw the game live in Aachen, for example. That was a 1-0 win, if I'm correct, for Aachen. But yeah, that performance was extremely poor. When they had the ball, the right winger, I don't remember his name. He just walked the ball twice over the line with nobody around him. You know, it's like what they were doing at the time, But with IL, I always get the feeling they've been struggling for. I mean, they want to be there at the top, but they've been struggling for 3-4 years now. They haven't been really up to top 4 at least.
Yeah,
Well,
three years ago when they challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been 3 years. They don't really can push into, well, let's say top 4, but. Let's see if that changes now with the new coach. I mean, they've got a few players that are really they can bring something extra to the team. But if you look at the other teams at the moment in the league, then I don't think IL will be up there anytime soon. And obviously, by OTHELLOS, they've been struggling from the start. But I don't think OTHELLOS have been playing that bad, to be honest. From all the games I've seen, but the problem they have is the scoring part, except from the game against AEK. But all the other games, they nearly lost 1-0 against APOEL. Obviously, APOEL had the better of the game, but if you see in the last 5-10 minutes, I mean, if they really got a decent, good striker up front, they could grab a few more points here and there, but. I think that's the key missing part for them. I think in January they will be aiming to get a new striker if they still have some budget left.
Yeah,
wow.
And the thing is, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but at the beginning of the season, I tipped IL to get relegated, and that was purely on the basis who they had as head coach. Now, let's not get it twisted here. Their squad, I don't think, is good enough to challenge for the title, but I think it's good enough to stay up. Right.
Yeah.
So if you look at them, they work hard. They've got goals in them. Let's get it right. And we've seen some of the goals that they scored this season. They can score from outside the box, inside the box. I think it boils down to who is coaching them, and that is the key element of this. It's who is coaching this particular group of players. If you look at, say, ARIS and a few other clubs in Cyprus, yeah, they're dangerous. But they've got the individuals, they've got the players that can turn a game on its head like that. IL, I don't think they've got these match winners that can slot into any other club in Cyprus. So it's down to the head coach to galvanize them and to get the system right. And it looks like this guy's doing a job already. So let's see.
Well, it's also that, and we've seen that it looks like there's definitely 3 teams worse than them, at least. We've seen it. we've seen it very well with what's going
Yeah.
on at the moment, lower down the table.
It's going to be the most pointless Group B this season, isn't it? It's going to be the most pointless one.
I don't know. I really don't know. I think
Really?
yeah, I think a lot of those last 5 or 6 teams are gonna take points off each other, left, right, and centre. I think there's a lot to do. I think there's a couple that are definitely going to go down, but that last spot could be taken by 2 or 3 teams. So I think it'll be worth keeping an eye on. I think definitely think there's.
Put it this way, I think KARMIOTISSA are going to have more coaches than points this season.
Yeah. Oh no, they're going to KARMIOTISSA, DOXA have scored 3, I think, in 8 games. They've lost all 8. I think they're definitely down. But then you've got Achna, you've got Othello, you've got I'm just trying to think who else is down there.
ARIS.
You've got
Salamina.
AES. I wouldn't count Salamina in there, but you've got those 3 teams. I think are going to be battling it out for that last place. I think it's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on that.
Okay.
Now,
Yes. Yes.
So we mentioned a new manager coming in,
Yes.
but another manager has gone. We are now
Here we
on
go.
7 managerial. Is it 7? Yeah, 7 managerial casualties after 8.
Ocean 7, mate. Ocean 7.
Yeah,
We've only got a
exactly.
few to go to make it 11.
Yeah. But yes, so we are Alex Watermelon's gone. Alexis Karpozis.
Very good.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes. But yeah, Alexis Karpozis, Cypriot international footballer, has been sacked. Well, he's not been sacked. A mutual termination with OTHELLOS, which means now OTHELLOS are managerless for the time being.
Yep.
Now, it was a bit of a weird situation because there were half the sports websites were reporting that the Othello's directors were not happy with him and they were going to sack him. Others were reporting that it was Karpozis who was going to resign because he doesn't feel like he can get anything out of these players. Either way, it looks like it's half of one, half a dozen of one, 6 of the other. But yeah, he's gone. I think it's a shame. He was getting the team to play some good football, albeit they were unlucky at times to not get the results they were getting. And 4 of the games they played was against teams you say will be in the top 6. APOEL, they had APOLLON, which they got one of the points that they've got from. They had I think they let him. They everybody in that situation gave up too early. Except they've got the ARIS game coming up, and then after that they've got DOXA and AES. Now, if you're still with 3 points after that, then you should be like, okay, we've gone as far as we can. Let's make a change before it goes too late. But I think they've done it a bit too early. I think at this point.
Right, mate. I don't know if you have had the chance because I've just noticed it, and I don't think any of us knew about this because obviously we've been recording it. But there's some bad news. Gigi, the former president of ANORTHOSIS, passed away.
Oh wow!
Wow. Okay. That's let's see that translate for Erik. So yeah, the president of ANORTHOSIS has passed. Wow. Okay, that is Wow. I don't know what to say at a time like this. Rest in peace, I guess.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Wow. Okay. Blimey. Yeah, he did go off the radar for a bit, didn't he? Obviously, we weren't to know what was going on. Clearly, now we know he was suffering health problems. But yeah, blimey. So yeah, wow. Okay, right. I don't want to dampen the mood here. So shall we move on to the next game? Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
let's
good.
do it.
Let's go. So Omonia beat Buffalo by 2-0. I did no Choftes yesterday. So I'm going to leave you two with your opinions and thoughts on the game.
Well, listen, I've been going. I've had a lot of crap thrown at me for saying that Buffos weren't going to do anything this year. I mean, look, every time they've played somebody in last season's top 6, they've drawn twice and lost twice. So they've lost 1-0 to APOEL. There's this 2-0 loss here, and they drew 1-0 with ARIS and drew 0-0 with AEK. That's not championship winning form, is it? Defensive frailties again. I'm not sure what Name was wanting to do, giving away the penalty. Very obvious as well. You can't argue much against it. And even the second goal that Omonia scored, it was again another mistake at the back. Ikoko is tracking Semedo's run, so we're watching it live now. And then he's caught between trying to play the offside trap and staying with the runner, and then he's done neither. And it's very disappointing on Bafos's end. It's very poor defending for both the goals, and I think that's something that's going to carry on, because it's basically what happened last season as well, wasn't it? They had this great run of form in the first part of the season, and then when it came to getting into the top 6 and playing top 6 teams, they struggled a lot, and it seems to be the same again. At least from what I can see, anyway. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you mentioned. But there's also players like who did a really good first season, like Valakari. I think he hasn't been upping his game really. Everybody, because he was a young player when he came to Pafos. I think he scored, was it more than 10 goals in his first season? But I think after that he hasn't been really up to his game. And again, it's many different changes they make. But if you look at what Pafos has been doing, or at least try to create how the facilities are, everything is there for it to be like a top contender. But it's like you say, Thassos, it hasn't been really come out with too many errors at the back, and not winning the top games, let's say.
Erik,
Yeah.
why do you think Buffer have been so hit and miss the past few seasons? Obviously, they've changed head coaches a lot, and I think their recruitment has been good. But where do you think it's going wrong for this club? It's almost as if they're the nearly men, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like maybe it would be good if there would be a coach for like that they really say, okay, we give you 2 years, and not like you say they change the coach too quickly. There's never beneficial for a team, to change so many things, because another coach sees it differently, gonna train differently, it takes all time, changing players in January window, wants to take players what he thinks is good in, it hasn't been up the game. And I don't know if it's the communication, because I don't know which game it was. I think there was one game. I think there were 11 different nationalities. Obviously not a secret player on the pitch, but maybe that's also a thing. But it shouldn't really be, because we should be talking English. But if you see where the players are from, then sometimes I might think they've got communication problems, but who knows?
Thassos, it looked like they didn't have a plan B Buffer, and you know, against APOEL is a similar situation. I think their first shot on target was in the 79th minute against APOEL, and against OMONOIA, they were just, well, they could only shoot from range, really, or put the ball across the face of the goal. There didn't seem to be a different plan. And even the substitutions that Carcedo made, it didn't really make a difference, clearly. You said at the beginning of the season, you can't believe that they are being tipped as title contenders. And judging by their performance, I can see why you came to that conclusion. But what can they do to make things better or even challenge?
Well, first of all, I said that they were missing this standout central defensive signing. They signed the Romanian international, that Rus. Yeah. He wasn't the kind of standard that they need. Obviously, he's an improvement on some of the players that they had in central defense. He's a very good player, but he's not the kind of player that they need. Now, the other thing as well is they went and spent record amount of money on a goalkeeper in Ivosic, and he's a fine goalkeeper, but with the conversation that we're having about him is probably the same one we were having about Antosh last season at the beginning. He's not a goalkeeper to win a league for you. And, you know, for some reason they went and signed like 3 other goalkeepers as well to kind of understudy for him. I think it's something stupid. I think I think one of the problems as well, obviously, is you've got this, there's a big demand for results to come at PAFOS, like very quickly. And when there's results against top 6 teams like OMONOIA and APOEL that aren't really happening, it's not just Dubov up at the top going, yet don't like this. No, there were some members of the crowd at the game that were booing the players at full time. The fact that they're booing the players at full time, even though, you know, how many games have they actually lost? They haven't lost that many games. I think it's only
this season 2.
Yeah, it's only the 2 that it's this one and the APOEL game that they've lost. So they're not doing badly. You can't say that they're doing badly. They're still in there. They haven't dropped off that much. They're not doing badly. It's just that there's this, you know, the team's been put on a pedestal. Big team, they should be up at the top. A lot of expectations. A lot is riding on their season, and as soon as a hurdle comes up, we've got to change it. We've got to change it somehow. Like, for instance, Berg, every time they lost a game, the press secretary had to come out to be like, we're not going to sack Berg, until they did sack him. But, you know, there's always this cloud hanging above the team as well, which I don't think is helping much. And I think that's a big problem.
And the thing is, mate, their next 2 games are APOLLON and ANORTHOSIS, right? But after that, they've got ETHNIKOS, OTHELLOS, SALAMINA, and KARMIOTISSA. You'd expect 12 points from those 4 games, right? But the question is, does he survive to coach those 4 games after ANORTHOSIS?
That's the thing, isn't it? Because PAFOS, again, PAFOS had a very good first part of the season last season, and then top 6, their form fell off a cliff. I don't want to blame it on Bruno. I keep saying don't mention Bruno, but you know, they signed him and nothing happened. They signed Ivosic, nothing happened. It's just, I think I don't know what it is with PAFOS, but for some reason, whenever they end up with like the top 5, top 6 teams, they just don't perform. And it's a weird one.
Erik, I'm not sure where Buffalo go from here, to be honest. Now, I don't want to be all doom and gloom for them because clearly there's a long way to go for the season. And let's get it right. They've got a strong enough squad, I believe, to compete. But I have to question some of the signings that they make. And I think the left back, Meluso, they signed in the summer, the Argentinian. I don't know what's happening with him. Has he got a squad number? Is he... I don't know what's happening. So sometimes they make these strange signings and they either don't work out or they just sign for Buffalo. You don't see them or hear from them ever. So is this to do with their transfer policy? I know they're doing very well when it comes to their scouting because I think their under 19s have been winning the league title at Cantor, even though most of the players aren't Cypriot. But that's another story for another time. Yeah. So is it just the coaching that's an issue, or is it the recruitment that's also an issue now?
Personally, I think it's a little bit of a mixture, but I think it's mainly of recruitment part, because they obviously I think they scout good players, like you say. I think because I watched one game of the under 19s, there's not one Cypriot player who plays in there, but. Last year they had Papastilianou, but he went to Genoa, obviously. But it's hard to say, because I think like the Brazilian right winger, he's on loan. They got a few guys from Brazil on loan, but I think the whole you need to see as a team. You know, if it fits together, they can be individually great players, but as a team, it needs to fit. Like Thassos says in defense, maybe it's not connecting. You know, I don't know what's the reason behind that. You know, because if you look at the players individually, like Vida, the centre back, it's a really decent, good centre back, and the other player. But yeah, it's hard to put your finger on it. But I think it has for a big part to do with the recruitment part. And obviously, if players do not really do well, they will just send them to Acritas and develop them further there. Because Acritas now is PAFOS B, really. But
yep.
Yeah, we don't talk about that either. There's a couple of things we don't talk about.
I agree with him. I agree.
We agree up to a point. We not supposed to, because that would be a strange thing that's not necessarily allowed, especially since Agritas were in the same league as Baffles last season. But anyway, just wanted to mention, remember Pepe? They signed Pepe on loan from Olympiacos. He's appeared twice this season so far. So it's another player that's kind of joined them and disappeared into the roster. It's a strange situation at Buffalo. But listen, we also need to mention Omonia a little bit. I know we need to mention Omonia. They are unbeaten this season.
Yes.
So far, even though the draws have been against teams that they shouldn't be drawing against. But anyway, if they keep the performances up against the top six, that they seem to be putting against the other top six teams, then you know they've got a good chance to do something this season. As much as it hurts me to say, Omonia have got a good chance to do something this season, I think. But yeah. Sorry for our Brazilian friends and listeners, but Bafos, they're desperate for that top six. And I think they're going to struggle with it just because of how well other teams around them are doing.
Mate, getting into Europe is their main ambition.
They're not doing it. They're not doing it.
At this rate, no. At this rate, no. You know, a couple of years ago when Constantine came in and he steadied the ship, he got them their highest ever finish. And then last season, they missed out on Europe. This season, they need it. They certainly need it. if they are to kick on. But look, it's a long season, so we can't really say too much anyway. So
And you got the cup. You got the cup, obviously, which gives you the European spot. So that could be also. I think that on one point that they just focus on that one. I think they got a very easy draw anyway in the first game. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
Right, Thassos. There isn't really much news, is there? I think it's quiet in comparison to previous weeks, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, there isn't much to yell about much. I've made some notes. Spiros Neofitidis got involved in another argument with the Cyprus FA.
Oh no.
I mean, everything he said when he was being interviewed on Supersport FM last week, I personally completely agree with everything he said.
Yep.
He was talking about making changes required at the Cyprus FA, including coming up with a joint plan for the Ethniki and the youth teams, making sure that players of all ages don't train on infrastructure from the lower leagues. For instance, the under-17s for this friendly tournament that they're doing with Portugal and the Netherlands, and I can't remember the fourth team, but they're doing a little tournament for the under-17s, and the Cyprus under-17s are training at the community stadium of Birga, where the mighty Athletiki Enosi Birgon play. Do you know what level they play at?
I'm guessing coffee shop league.
Well, it's 5th level on the pyramid. So you've got
coffee shop league.
Yeah, you've got 1st division, 2nd division, 3rd division. You've got stock epilepticus or whatever it's called, and then you've got a bunch of leagues below that for each eparchia and each area. So they're in one of those, right? And you've got your under-17s training on that pitch. So that was one of the things he mentioned instead. So and he also mentioned something we talked about not last week, 2 weeks ago, is a full-time scouting team. And when he said that, I went, "Oh, now that's a good idea, isn't it?" But yeah, he mentioned that 4 million euros of investment would be required by the Cyprus FA to get everything up to the point where it needs to be for the Ethniki to not be the embarrassment that it is at the moment. And but in the meantime, he mentioned somebody by name, the technical director, who's in charge of the national teams in Cyprus, and he mentioned him and said that he didn't have the top UEFA coaching qualification that you would expect to somebody to have. Now, the Cyprus FA heard that bit in particular and released a statement saying, "We consider as unacceptable and reprehensible from the president of the Players' Union in times when the results of our national teams justifiably cause concern. His references to the qualifications of specific persons and the commentary he makes do not honour him nor the institution he represents. Those who are really interested in the future and the present of the national teams can be sure that the Cyprus FA, where necessary, will take the corresponding decisions." Now, what a load of bollocks. But yeah, now Neofitidis had a response. So he went on Supersport FM again, kind of to respond to this statement to the Cyprus FA. It's like he actually responded to the post that you'd put on Twitter about it, to say that everything I said was with the utmost respect. Here's the radio interview, and sent a link to the radio interview. I think he got the link wrong, so he went somewhere else, but I found the interview anyway and listened to it. And for about 15-20 minutes, he talks about the problems that are occurring with the Cyprus FA and the national team. And he says exactly what we've been saying this whole time. But because he's inside, he knows a bit more. So, for instance, you mentioned the technical director with who hasn't got the full UEFA qualifications. Anyway, he had the response. The last announcement was misguided and unfortunate, and this is recognized by the whole world. We talk and try to help. There was nothing offensive said about any person. Some people should understand that they should open their ears and listen to some things. Some are offended because we say some self-evident things. I'm a fan of Spiros. I don't know about you.
Look, he is very welcoming. He's very supportive of what we do. He engages with us, and I don't have any problem with that. And to be honest, he's very fair. And if there is something that we put out, content-wise, he will say it like it is. Now, again, I don't have a problem with that because you know what? At least it shows that he cares. Here's the difference. You know, we can tweet the CFA as much as we want, but we'll end up getting blocked, regardless of how positive we are or as constructive we are with our criticism. Now, Erik, if the KMVB had the same attitude to football as the Cypriot FA would, you guys wouldn't be producing world-class players, would you?
No, but like you say, it starts from grassroots, but up towards how they did it in Cyprus. But yeah, a lot obviously needs to change. If you look at the things are set up, if you just call out the small thing that they get the fines if they don't put the Cypriot players. For some clubs, it's like a change at the Beriptero, you know. It's nothing for them. So they absolutely it's no stick behind the door saying, oh, you really need to put, because that means they really need to put an investment on the Cypriot players, which is, yeah, I think because back in the days they used to have the under-21 league in Cyprus. I think that's already could be a good opportunity if they say, all right, we bring back the under-21 league for at least the first and the second division teams who play on Tuesday and Wednesday, for example, and that they can play 3 or 4 compensation players that don't play with the first team, and they can play 4 players in the under-21 league that are over the age limit to raise the level, and also for Cypriot youngsters to get a lot of minutes in there. Because if you look at some of the youngsters in several clubs that are really have the potential, but they stay there and they don't develop. If you call out, for example, the guy who was on loan with OMONOIA, Henry Bates, he's been on the bench for 2 years now with AEK, which, yeah, is no development, and he will not be. And you got a few other players that are like this, but it's, for example, the guy you mentioned, Thassos from ANORTHOSIS.
Julio, yeah.
His name now, the 17-year-old. Yeah, it's for these kind of players. I think it would be interesting that they really should say, all right, we're going to loan him out. Even he's 17. You see the past what happened with Foti. Obviously, his father owns Ormidia club, but he took him when he was 16, and he played. I think it was even third division back in the days when he was 15. I know he was 15 years old, and he scored about 8 goals, and then he went on to. I don't think it might be straight. Went to Germany, you know. But that's how the young players they get the development if they play senior football. That's what you see in the Netherlands. They have teams. Second teams they play in senior leagues. In Germany, exactly the same. In various countries, in Spain, but yeah, in Cyprus they took the under-21 away, and like you see with PAFOS under 19 now, it's full of foreigners, you know. So where did the Cypriot players go? There's no opportunities for them, you know, to see.
Yeah, the structure is all.
I don't know how you look at it, but I think if they bring back an under-21 league, it's already like how do you call it? It's already an improvement for this, you know. And maybe if the federation is going to say, all right, if you don't put 2 players per game, you might lose a point, you know. And then obviously they will do it. I don't know if they
Well,
can technically, but
yeah, it's a weird one because the Cyprus FA in the summer they tried to introduce a reserve league, and they
yeah, they have
offered it
talks
out.
about that.
Yeah, they offered it out to all the teams in the first division and the second division, and in the end, they only had, I think, 3 or 4 positive responses to it. So in the end, they put that idea in the bin. Nobody wanted to do it.
Yeah, it's financially also for some clubs, I guess, because they need to have a little bit of bigger squad. You know, you need to have
Well,
more
I mean,
players, obviously.
I would argue you wouldn't, because you would end up using those Cypriot players that would otherwise be sat stewing in the under-19s
Yeah, yeah,
and not gain game
yeah,
time. But
yeah.
yeah,
It's a difficult one to call, but yeah, obviously, I think to add second division, because that's what happened exactly in the Netherlands. They on one point the Dutch Federation said, all right, how we want to improve the young players, and they gave the opportunity to I don't know if it was the top 8 clubs or all of the clubs in the first division. If you want to compete your team in the second division, you are allowed. And Feyenoord didn't do it at the end of financial reasons, but they really regret it now, because they got the team in the under 21 league and they can't go out really, because they keep getting second, and if they win they need to play a championships playoff, and it's really difficult to get a team into and you see it obviously from the teams that took the chances. They really pay off with young players going everywhere and getting game time.
the one team that is doing that is Agridas.
Yeah.
They so yeah, the Agridas. I think it's either the Agridas B team or under 21s. I'm not sure what they're called, but they play in the Bafos Agrodigo in the 5th pyramid, and they did so well last season that they got into the tournament to be able to get into the Stokke Bilektigis. Now I think they finished 5th in that tournament, which means they didn't get promoted, but they got close enough to get into the 4th division in Cyprus. And Agridas, did like from all the teams in the top 2 divisions, it's the only one I've seen actually do something to try and lift it up a little bit. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few. If you look at the Cypriot players abroad, then I was expecting actually from maybe a team as PAFOS or ARIS in January. Maybe what I think would be great for ARIS if they can try to get, let's say, Lifeys back to Cyprus. I don't know if he wants to, but
Yeah,
that could be
he does.
really...
He does want to. He said so in the summer. He wants to go back. He wants to move back to Cyprus.
Yeah, so I think if ARIS would be able to sign a player like that, then obviously as they could use something defensively and bring back obviously like a Cypriot player to the league, then it would be really good for the league and for the Cyprus national team. He would be called up anyway, but if you look at the players abroad, would you think Thassos, Ruel Soteriou should be in the squad someday? So
You've opened a big old can of worms there. Ruel Soteriou should be in that team. He should already be in that team with Hector Gibriano, with Nick Tarula, with countless others. There's a Watford Academy goalkeeper, Gabriel Ortelli, who we've interviewed, who went to Cyprus in the summer to get his passport sorted so he can play for the for the Cypriot national team and go through the youth teams and things like that. No call up for him. Nothing. He's had nothing, and he's he's in the Watford under 23s right now, and he's had he's had nothing.
You know, we've got 2 more players in Watford's under 18s.
Yeah, Georgiou, and I can't remember the other one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, looking at players who came from England, like Anthony Georgiou. I think that was. I was expecting a lot from him, but at the moment he's on the bench for Paralymni in the second division. That I really didn't expect that to happen. But from what I've seen, when he was at Spurs in the under 21s, it looked really good to me, but it didn't really work out for him.
Yeah, there's a couple of players like that. There's like Dimitris Froxilias as well. So he went into Scotland and performed well enough, and then came and then went to Cyprus. And I think he is. Where is he? Is it?
Not sure, mate. Not sure.
He's in the second division anyway. Anyway, regardless, that's lots
Omonia.
of that's. Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about Omonia anymore. But I want to bring up. Just want to bring up something. So just a little bit of comedy, just to just to balance it out at the end. Is we'll go back to the PAFOS Omonia match.
Yes.
And so there were some complaints from Omonia regarding a 12th man kind of getting involved for PAFOS. So basically there was a police jeep that was parked behind a hoarding, and people who can't see the image, it's a police vehicle that's parked behind an advert for the Flying Pig Sports Bar and Grill.
Poetic.
Oh man, it's I can't believe it. I can't believe that was. I mean, if you want advertising for the Flying Pig, I guess that's how you do it.
This is perfect for the Twitter account. Images that go hard.
It's amazing. I can't believe it.
Oh.
Now, apparently, during every Omonia attack in the first half, somebody would go turn on the lights of the Jeep to put off the players. Now, I say apparently because we got this from Omonia fans in the Discord. But even so, Omonia, the team, the directors actually put a complaint in to say, like, what the hell's going on here? Now, I think it's who was it? Sigma Live, I think, contacted the police to ask them about it.
Yes.
And so the police had to bring out a statement about the Flying Pig Jeep. At the end of the first half, at approximately 19:45, a representative of Omonia approached the police officer of the match, reporting to him that a police patrol car, which is among other patrol cars inside the track of the stadium, that the small lights are on, resulting in a reflection from the floodlights. It was indeed established that a patrol car behind the goalposts attacked by the Omonia team in the first half had its small lights on, as a result of which an immediate instruction was given to turn off the lights as it was done. There was no intention to do anything. So yeah, there you go. Flying pigs.
This is
Flying
Cyprus.
pigs.
This is Cyprus. Do you know, there is another story, but I don't know if you want to go into this because you can go on for ages about this one. Your mate.
Oh, the interview.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that, or shall we wait for another time?
We've done an hour and a half.
We've done an hour and a half.
Right. Let's just say he gave an interview. He spoke a lot of truths. and a lot of crap as well.
Right.
Yeah, but the biggest piece of crap that I will mention, right, is right at the end. He said, "My mistake was that I consented to the suspension of the championship due to the coronavirus. It's the first time I've said that. I thought it was the right choice. In hindsight, I say it was the wrong decision." Now, he said that with regards to the club's finances,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Okay.
So coronavirus is the fault that APOEL are 30 million in debt plus 30 million in obligations on top of it. Yeah. It's coronavirus fault. It's not the fault of bad financial mismanagement of this prick, right? It's corona, all right? And the other thing is, right, if he didn't cancel the season, Omonia would have won the championship.
Yeah, but truth be told, mate, even if he wanted the championship to continue, I'm pretty sure the Cypriot government would have had something to say about it.
Probably. But he put it in such a way to say that it was me. I said we should cancel it, and that's why it got cancelled.
Okay, so we must thank Bedridi for the unofficial league title and then getting into the Champions League qualifiers. Cheers, Maggie. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Shit, man. Get him out. Get him out. I hate him.
Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. Enough. Because I haven't lost my marbles on this episode. I think it's been all you. So I think we've redressed the balance somewhat. Yes. So, Erik, thank you for joining us again, my friend. I know you're a couple of hours ahead of us in Cyprus. Before we let you go, just remind our viewers and our listeners where we can find your social media, your website, etc., etc.
For the Dutch players in Cyprus, you will find it on Instagram. Maybe you can link it or somewhere we can put that there. And obviously they can have a look at the website of Luxury Cyprus. And it was a pleasure joining you guys.
Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll have you back on again. Excellent. Right, that's it for another episode of This Is Mappa. You too, mate. So this is another episode of This Is Mappa in the book. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, on Twitter at This Is Mappa. We've got a Discord. We've got a Facebook page. We'll be back very, very soon because, hey, the saga continues. Good night, everyone.